Deputy Speaker. And I do note the lack of generosity given in that speech, and I'm not sure if someone wrote that for you, Mr Street. If they did, you should have a chat to them. If you wrote it yourself, you need to have a long, hard look at yourself, in my view, because
just in your humble opinion,
it was a long, very negative tirade, and I think you're better than that. I think you're better than that, Mr Street, because at no stage have Labor engaged in talking the state down. What we have engaged in is a realistic assessment of the place we're in and the challenges that our states face, and we articulate through our plan, through our fully costed jobs plan, a vision to assist Tasmania out of the economic circumstances that we all face collectively.
How do you get to 35,000?
Now, what conveniently, again, look, let's not pretend both sides don't cherry pick data. We both look at the data that suits our argument. I completely get that. But
so you cherry
let's be clear. The reality that we face ourselves in, that Tasmania has 8.2% unemployment, the highest unemployment rate in the country. Your own Treasury has forecast much higher unemployment, and it's also forecast a recession. That's when we refer to it. These are your government's figures. Now, we don't wish that on Tasmanians. We don't hope that that will occur, but we're realistic to acknowledge that is the future we face unless we take action in response to building jobs, building confidence. I know when I was Economic Development Minister, during the time in the post-GFC, the immediate GFC period where the stimulus package came off, and the terms of trade. Tasmania is an export-orientated economy, and our terms of trade were the worst in basically since the Australian dollar was floated. So we were over US parity, $1.08 at one point. And being an export-orientated economy, those terms of trade do not work well for Tasmania. When the stimulus package came off and when the Australian economy was sluggish, we were significantly impacted by that. And we worked day in, day out to protect. For example, the 4 major industrials in our state employ directly thousands and indirectly tens of thousands of Tasmanians and create so much economic activity. All 4 of them came in to my office and said, the London metals price is through the floor, the Australian dollar is so high, our trading circumstances are so difficult, we can't continue in Tasmania. We took that seriously, and we worked day in, day out to work with those companies to keep them in Tasmania. And that's not something you put out a press release to saying we've saved jobs. That's the work you do in government. And there's a whole range of initiatives in the Innovation Investment Fund, which is a feature of our Jobs Reply package, our Innovation Investment Fund, which created significant jobs across the state. And it was your members, both state and federal, cutting the ribbons in 2014 and 15 on Labor initiatives that created jobs, that created sustainable jobs, connected to an economic development strategy, connected to diversifying and strengthening the Tasmanian economy. Now, it was Labor that built the modern Tasmanian economy. Labor bought the 2 new vessels to revolutionise the tourism industry and to uplift time-sensitive freight and agriculture. It was Labor that built Basslink. It was Labor that built the irrigation schemes. It was Labor that brought gas on island. It was Labor that built the wind farms in Woolnorth and Muscle Road. Labor did these large initiatives in microeconomic reform which transformed and diversified the Tasmanian modern economy. Now, under the Liberal Party in government, you have one trick, and you've replayed it again in this budget. It's short-term building construction stimulus. Yes, that has impact. Yes, that creates jobs, but it doesn't strengthen the economy. It doesn't build a more diversified economy to deal with shocks. And we know and we hear, and you keep on putting out building and construction stimulus, and that's important, but you listen to the industry, they're at capacity. So there are job shortages and skill shortages in that area. So that is one trick that's not going to continue to work. You need to diversify. And you accuse us of cherry-picking numbers, but the sophistry of your press release yesterday saying Tasmania outpaces the country in state final demand. Well, that's using the national average figure, which includes a negative figure from Victoria, minus 1.4, I think it was, in terms of their state final demand, when Tasmania, in terms of the ratings, were behind the Northern Territory, behind South Australia, behind New South Wales, behind Queensland, and on par with WA and marginally ahead of the ACT. That's not outpacing the nation. That's just misleading the Tasmanian community and engaging in hubris and spin. This is actually not building. This is not building the Tasmanian economy. And if you think that 8.2% unemployment, which is the worst in the country, is acceptable, well, then that's a matter for you. We support our Tasmanian businesses. We meet with them regularly, daily. We meet with industry. We sit down with them and talk about plans for the future, about how we can build sustainable jobs. But we're not going to sit in an office and kid ourselves that everything's okay. We're going to be realistic about the future and respond to the challenges. That's why our jobs plan, our fully costed jobs plan, will create 35,000 jobs, and we'll engage in the biggest investment and innovation program in the state's history in terms of the $50 million package to support business and match. And what that does, that creates direct jobs. It's what we did back in the response to the global financial crisis in creating those jobs. So it is about being realistic in terms of the challenges that we face. And I acknowledge that in terms of the job, every job that comes back post the pandemic, we celebrate. We think that's a fantastic thing. But let's not be Pollyanna about it. We know Jobkeeper is still playing a role in our state. We know that the increased payments to JobSeeker is continuing to support the retail and the consumer sector. But to say that 2/3 of jobs have come back is dishonest. It's not true. At the peak, in 18th of April, 22,000 jobs were lost,
the Honourable Member for Clark
and still 11,000 jobs have been lost since that time.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise to talk